So just noticing what's alive in you right now. And where attention's wanting to go. And see if you can bring that attention to what's already at peace right now, just so that we can share common ground. What's already at peace right now. There's so many places attention can be, right? So many clamorings for attention that happen. Thoughts and feelings and sensations. But if we let ourselves follow the stream of the clamor, then we're on a ride for our whole lives. It's kind of nice to be able to choose what ride you want to be on. And the primary choosing is discovering what is prior to the ride, right? So that your home rests in what's prior to. So that's your home. Your true home, where you're most loyal. Because that's what accompanies you your whole life. Everything else is coming and going, right? Well, I feel like we do long for a home. We long for our true home. And I think the reason we long for it is because we know that it's there. And when we're nicely settled in our true home, in our being, right? And it's often felt in the belly too, in terms of the correspondence, the heart and the belly, true home. Then life can be enjoyed, participated in, and felt into without losing this sense of connection to source. And that's what the whole primary realization is about. The way we become friendly with all these aspects of life that we're going to be talking about today. My topic of basically experience, right? All experience. I mean, what kind of relationship does one have to life if we're lost in it? mean, if any of this has any value, the spiritual work is to be able to realize what's true. You know, prior to all arising, including yourself, the sense of yourself. And then being able to participate in life fully without being afraid of what? Getting hurt? Of feeling too much? Loving too much? Having your heart break open? Feeling the pain and suffering of others? So until we really know who we are through and through, and it's a lived experience, not just an intellectual knowing, a lived experience, right? We're going to be tentative about participating and throwing ourselves into life like a divine fool. Nothing to lose, with nothing to lose. We have a lot to lose when we're afraid of getting stuck. You know, and as you've noticed, I'm sure, experiences of life are all across the map, range in range. Textures and feelings and challenges and right? But what stays the same in it all? There's you. There's you. You stay the same. Welcome. So can you feel yourself sinking in a little more into your being right now? Maybe. So you can feel these modifications, these waves of thought and feeling and sensation, right? And then just see if you can place your attention to prior to that. Maybe it's easy for some of you and some not so easy. And rest in that which is prior to it without denying, right? Without being in denial of what's arising. And it's just a matter of where you're putting your attention. Sometimes the attention is on diving into experience. And sometimes it's being prior. And can you do it simultaneously? Sure you can. Be resting in yourself prior to. And then there's feeling, and there's sensation. All kinds of richness, right? So dipping into the richness without losing your sense of self. Just try it out. It's a practice. Let's see if anything is really ever lost when you're speaking and when you're feeling, thinking, whatever thinking is. See if anything's really lost. Is this what you are ever really lost? It's just the way that consciousness works. It's not a right or wrong thing. It's a really innocent thing. You know, consciousness is it goes where attention is placed. It's like a light, you know, a flashlight, and you illuminate over here, and boom, it goes there. Illuminate feeling, and there it goes. Illuminate itself, and that which is noticing all this, and that's placing attention on awareness itself, right? And that's really actually our home, resting as being, right? Resting as being is it nourishing, it's our home. It's really a nice kind of setting. It's a nice inner setting to, you know, like if there was like a general, what's the word? I don't know. Pause button or something, but general setting until the next thing comes up. I think there's a word. That the setting is your natural, your natural, yourself, resting in your being. Default setting. Ah, I found it. Default setting. Can your default setting be the being that you are, which is attention resting on itself? And so then consciousness goes in and out, you know, of its focus. But its default setting is the natural being. Prior to becoming and becoming something. It's very nourishing. It's what sustains us. It's what realization is really all about. The primary realization, I feel like there are a bunch of realizations to be had. But the very primary first one that everything turns on is know yourself as that. And rest as that. Place your attention on that, which is what you already are right now. You don't have to look for it. Just feel your way into it. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be difficult. Just feel your way into that which is already at rest and at peace inside, and let your attention stay there, rest there. It's kind of like learning the grammar of a language. You gotta know the grammar. Can't get around it. I've tried with languages. So you gotta know the fundamentals. Yeah, so that's the fundamental. And you already know this in your being. You wouldn't be here. It wouldn't be interesting to you beyond the first minute. You already know this in your being. But really, it's about devotion and giving yourself to this, okay? Don't hold back. Don't hold back from yourself. Give yourself the gift. It's really a love affair, right? You don't have to be worthy. You don't have to study a bunch. It's your birthright. So, I like to sometimes just talk and be reminding ourselves of what's the primary understanding, okay? Before we dive into anything. Because otherwise, it's just talking about experience. And getting, and missing the point. Okay? Because when we rest as awareness or consciousness, when that's resting as that, that's what is open to experience. See? That is what is in love with all of itself and full acceptance. It's not you. We tend to have preferences and opinions, and no, that's fine. But that means that there'll be things we'll turn away from and things that we'll want, right? But resting is the openness is a really different thing. See if you can feel that within yourself. When you rest as the openness, the shutter is really big. It's as big as the universe, you know. It's not honing in on anything. Everything's allowed and welcomed. It just is, right? Just is. Maybe is more neutral than allowed and welcome. That's when love comes in. Just first of all, it's just is. That's a wonderful default setting. I really highly recommend experimenting and playing around with this. To be the openness. Walk around as one great big openness. Your opinions will come in when they need to. I wouldn't worry about it. You won't get it, you know, you'll hopefully still be aware of the bus coming down the street or of somebody who's not worth spending time with. You know, to know the difference, right? It's just like an inner holding, a way of being. See, once this really is solidly known inside, it's just something that's constantly open. You won't need to keep going back to prior to and sensing into the openness. But that's a good practice, you know, for until it's your home. Known home, your known home. And it's just habit. It's just habit of mind that takes one away from that. But first there needs to be sort of, like a discovery. There is something that's always open and at peace, already at peace. And then it's a matter of allegiance, right? We kind of get what our allegiance is. That's kind of what we get more of. There's no right or wrong. It's just, it's really completely up to you. Which is a lot of power. We tend to feel, many of us, because of the way things are, tend to feel disempowered in our lives, But the ultimate power is our own. What you're paying attention to is the ultimate power. And you are totally worth it. And give that to yourself. No matter what you aren't given in your life so far, no matter what you weren't given as a child, as a baby, give this to yourself. Give yourself to yourself. And whenever the habit comes in to turn away from yourself, just take a step back again into yourself. You don't need to figure it out. Don't need to psychoanalyze why you're turning away. Just realize that that's conditioning. That's habit. That's what conditioning is. It's habit. If you're a real feeling type, a sensing feeling type, you can feel into that which is prior. It'll have a sense to it, a corresponding sense. Really, actually, it is without texture or flavor or sense, but it is a nice kind of trail. And it's not by accident that well-being and the corresponding feelings of well-being get associated with home. It's like, an aroma, a perfume to follow. Or you might just feel, sort of a sense of like a welling in your heart, or clarity of mind. It depends on how we're wired. But you don't need to turn away from that either. From feeling good. Isn't that amazing how we can be trained to even turn away from feeling good? Like we can't trust anything. We can't trust, we want so much to feel good and we chase after it all day long. What's in the fridge? TV show, whatever, hang out with a friend, nature, all that good stuff, nothing wrong with it. we chase this stuff, right, all day long. Let's just be honest. We're like little animals, you know. We follow the trail of the next good thing. But then when it comes and finds you, you know, and claims you for itself, we're like, ah. Wait a minute, I want to have control over what it is I want. You know, it's like, you know, you've heard the saying, maybe, some of you, you know, like you chase after enlightenment and eventually enlightenment starts chasing after you. Have you heard that? So then, you know, this that we are starts coming back after, you know, it does a circle and comes back around and goes, oh yeah. Love is wanting itself. Right? And then there's sometimes this bulking. Because then we're not in control anymore, right? And the mystery, resting in the mystery, that's boundary free. That has no agenda. And that's the default setting that I invite you to have. It's a boundary-free, not place doesn't have an agenda. There's no goal. So it's pure openness. And you start getting a taste of it, and if you really let yourself have it, I totally recommend getting totally addicted. Let yourself be addicted in one place in your life, okay, fully. The bliss of the self, love for self, attention being placed on attention. And see what happens is then the undivided state surfaces, that which is always undivided, not two, but one. And in oneness, everything is contained. That's why it's open to itself, right? Because it is the whole. Rest is that rest is that. In the end, the you that rests as that gets swallowed up over time by that. It's just this little point of awareness that at first feels like it's resting as that, and that's a wonderful thing. Give yourself to that as much as possible, and then the alchemy of dissolution occurs where that is resting as that. And then that is what's peering out of your eyes, and that's what's living this life. And then that is what's open to all these aspects that are hard, that can be hard, right? That come and go all day long. But do you get the feeling how important this is? That this is the primary resting place that is in support to one's life and what's occurring? And without that, we're just this leaf in the wind with No support, no feeling of support. But you know yourself as the wind, and you know yourself as the leaf, and you know yourself as the whole, then the leaf can blow, right? It can get crunched, it can fertilize someone's garden. And then we're used. See, I think we all really long to be put to good use. Do you guys know what I'm talking about here? Being put to good use. We all long to be in use. To be used by life, by the universe. Like, use me, I'm here. Don't waste me. There's nothing like just sitting there waiting. Boring. It's okay to be bored for a while, 10 years might be enough. But, for some people, I don't know. I mean, it's not like we're not used. It's just that there's a certain quality of being used I think we really long for. So yeah, there's a certain quality of being used that we long for. And it's like really satisfying. It's like the best meal. When life is using itself to serve life. Do you guys get that? Life is serving itself. It's a meal of itself. And that's our potential. Is to be in service to. I mean, who doesn't want to be in service to? It's just that, all these things hold us back, right? And that's okay. It's not to make anything wrong with it. It's because what hasn't been discovered is resting as grounded being, fully, enough. It can't really be a partial meal. I mean, it can, and we do what we can all the time. And it's not that it doesn't have effect. But the real delicious offering is when we're fully digested. And then life is like, it doesn't waste a thing. It doesn't even waste all the junk that we make in the end. We probably won't know because we'll probably be all long gone. But life doesn't waste a thing. It makes something out of something. So there's really good reason, besides on an individual level, there's a really good reason to realize the self, because it's a much better way to live. And if you don't really know how to do it, there's plenty of teachers and videos out there pointing out how to rest as self prior to. But really, the truth is you can do it on your own. Just go to that which is uncreated in yourself and stay there and practice it. The part of you that's undefined right now. That's all it is, really. And then this new type of habit happens where awareness is resting on itself, And then finally it doesn't waver anymore, you know, and go, oh. But it just kind of just goes, it just sort of this, like the sun recognizes the sun and it rests there. That's what you are. You're a sun. And you recognize yourself, which is prior to all thought. And you unwaveringly stay there. And if you feel any sadness or any kind of melancholy around any of this, any of you, while I'm speaking, it's because there's such a longing for home inside. Right? That's what's right. It's a good thing to feel that melancholy. It's just a reminder of what we've been overlooking. And it's an act of kindness to give it to yourself. Okay? It's an act of love. You are so, so, so deeply held and loved. No one ever could love you the way that you can love yourself. No one. And what the love that self has for itself. So that's why it woos us to come home. And then, of course, there's the rest of life, right? There's all of life waiting to be loved. So you don't know yourself as that being. Can you love? Can openness be accessed and felt into? Not a personal love, just as love. Don't even have to like someone to love them. Can you love everyone? Have love for them. Wish them well? Sure you can. Don't have to bring your personality into it at all, or their personality into it at all, because that's what's going to go anyway. What's the truth of things? What is it you want to remember in your last moments of life? It's the love, right? For even those who have hurt us or have been hurt. It's the love that's going to want to be remembered, right? Yeah, but there was this love. Yeah, there was love. It's a shame that all that other stuff came in between, but really there was this love. So that's obviously where the work lies, right? Where that's not known. And that's okay. You don't have to figure it all out. Okay, so I'm gonna open it up. Oh, went on for a while, huh? I had no idea what I'd be talking about today. I was kind of like the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what's his name? Clint Eastwood movie. I loved that movie when I was a girl. I don't know what it was about it. Spaghetti Western. But anyway, yeah, but we can get into it now. We can get into the good and the bad and the ugly if we want to. But I think that it was just important for some reason to just go in this direction. Maybe I should just be more honest and say, I don't know what we're going to be talking about and just go for it. But, it's kind of fun too to kind of imagine. That's what we're doing. A lot of this is imagination, right? Okay, so most of you know how this works. If you would like to participate and say something, you unmute yourself in the lower left-hand corner, or let me know if you need help unmuting, or sure no. And then, sharing between, 3 to 5 minutes or whatever it is, but not too long. And we're not giving each other advice. We're remaining true to our own experience here. So let's just hear from you and see if this brought anything up, or if there's something that you're feeling challenged with and having a hard time just remembering who you are in the midst of it. Okay? It's not just about story, as you guys know what story is. Story is just, our lives, circumstances. Yeah. I think a lot of times what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the love in something. Something feels bad inside. Something feels bad inside regarding a person or in our lives, health or circumstances. And we're at odds with it. We're trying to figure it out. And we're just moved away from ourselves in the trying to figure it out part. So staying true to ourselves in the midst of something makes it so much more rich, the conversation. So see if you can stay as self-connected as possible. Yeah? Okay. So take a moment and look around the room here if you haven't been already, and say, just take a look at this.